All right, we are live in the bunker. Very exciting. So, when it looked like things were just waiting for people to populate, when did you realize that was Allen Iverson sitting courtside?
He was walking in front of me.
Okay.
In the hallway, like towards where they're.
Oh, so you should. Okay.
But you know who knows him? Of course. Brian Kersey.
Of course.
He's a Hampton Roads.
Of course.
And Bubba Chuck, the legend. So he said, Allen. And when he walked up to him, his dad, Jess Kersey, was an NBA official for a long time. So a lot of 757 legends there.
So he lives here now.
Yeah, I didn't realize
Which I did not know. I actually texted Shannon and I was like, hey, man. I need some Hampton Roads explanations here.
Yeah.
It's like, I get he lives here. It's not exactly a pretty day in Charlotte. Maybe he's bored. He wants to watch some hoops. Because I'm like, Hampton Roads and Charlottesville is like some real two Virginias. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, they were. He was not here for the University of Virginia.
Right. That's why I was like, it's not.
It's fairly safe.
I don't think that's why he was here. I think he was just kind of bored. Because at first I'm like, dang, dude. Somebody is iced out, because it caught my eye, the bling was catching my eye off the arena lights. I was like, who the hell is that? And I'm like, shit, is that AI? And then what gave it away was the neck tat. That's what
real
AI.
Yes,
the real AI.
Yeah. Not real AI.
Yeah. That's an actual AI I can get with, not the AI we're dealing with. Anyway. Let's go ahead and make this thing. We have to go because apparently they brought donuts to the media room.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to escape here in a second. Anyway, let's do this. Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovias inside Spectrum Center in Charlotte for the ACC tournament, not in our palatial Eford studio spaces, but always thanks to Empire Properties. Saw Greg courtside today for this NC State Virginia game. We always thank our friends at Copiers, plus our presenting sponsor for this podcast. But it is well past 2 o'clock, 2:33 to be exact, which means we're live on YouTube. Thanks to our friends at the Butcher's Market. You can check them out online at thebutchersmarkets.com. Honestly,
is it Thursday?
Yeah, dude.
Damn.
It's Thursday already. I know. What is time when you're at the ACC tournament, right? Anyway, I would like the Butcher's Market to cater the next time the ACC tournament is here. Like, I would love them in Greensboro. Don't get me wrong, but
I would love for anyone to cater,
right? Because like in Greensboro, like they got a kitchen. That kitchen's on lock. That kitchen's always been pretty good. Okay, but yeah, the media meals would be fantastic if there was one. I would love the Butcher's Market to cater. Can you imagine a steak and cheese section?
That would be awesome.
Media attendance would be through the roof. So big thanks to the Butcher's Market for sponsoring OG Live. We're going to check in with Patrick Stevens here in a little bit. We will also chat with Brendan Marks from The Athletic to talk about NC State. They're going to be going to the NCAA tournament, but everybody's already talking about what next year is going to look like. So what did Will Wade learn in his first year at NC State and in the ACC? And what can you expect this offseason? We'll also talk about some other coaching situations across the ACC and the through line for all of them. You got to invest in basketball if you actually want these coaches to succeed. It doesn't matter who you hire if you're not putting the money behind it. So we'll talk about that with Brendan. And since we are in Charlotte, we hung out with Julian Council yesterday at the Beef and Bottle and then at the Thirsty Beaver. And the Carolina Panthers sneaky won NFL free agency this week. Okay.
Made some smart moves.
So we'll talk to Julian Council about that as well. And of course, we have your OG sports phone calls and everything else. How you feeling though? You caffeinated? You ready to go?
I am. What am I? Beamed out?
Are you beamed up?
I'm beamed up.
Who is this? This is your people?
Vinny Pasquantino.
Did you know this guy back in New Jersey or
from
something
Bayonne?
Like that? Hey.
3 espresso shots in. How you feeling?
I'm caffeinated. I'm beamed up right now. So we're in a good spot.
Hell yeah.
Where was that clip when I needed it yesterday? What's wrong with you? I'm beamed up.
I feel like this is where the Italians and the Cubans, the Predator meme. You got the arms embraced with the biceps ripping. We got that espresso. Although I guess as a Cuban, you can also say beamed up.
This is not the episode today that we need to be worried about whether I'm in it or not. Okay, it's the next one that's going to be a challenge.
Hey, as Bubba wondered, Have I had the mushroom coffee yet? Tonight.
Tonight's the night?
Tonight's the night I have the mushroom coffee. I'm very excited about this.
Okay.
All right. So the game itself, NC State and Virginia, it went better than the last two. That's about all I can really say about this game. They actually looked engaged. Their offense was working as best it could. It's just that it kind of runs through a situation that NC State has been dealing with in the back half of the season when the competition's gotten harder, when the competition's better, right? You can see the limits, you can see the ceiling of this team. But all you could really ask is, hey man, after you got embarrassed twice by Virginia, at least show something today, which is exactly what they did. I did not expect them to win today, but they at least showed a little bit of fight in the loss today.
I thought that was the best we've seen them play over 30 minutes against a fully functional, healthy NCAA tournament team.
Yep.
First half of this game, you could see what this team could have been. You could see them at their best. Defensively, I thought the urgency and intensity was there. I thought there were fewer lapses. I thought they were really rebounding. I thought they did a much better job rebounding in the first half of this game, certainly than the first two games against Virginia. I think Virginia was a little bit off. There was a little bit of that, hey, we were in this building last night.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't. I always like those teams in the first half. The true test is always that second half. For State this year, most of their ACC games, most of them, they have played better in the second half. I think after sitting behind the Virginia bench, I'll try to say this in the most cleanest possible way that I can.
Okay.
You got a real one.
I mean,
Virginia's got a real one.
Yeah, man.
He's got the jacket on. He's got his dress shirt on. His hair's the right silver. He doesn't really swear at his team. He doesn't turn around. He doesn't light his team up. There's no Shakespeare in the Park. Calling some plays, running some stuff.
Yeah.
Telling his team. Arsenal went to the right. Hey guys.
Yeah.
He's going to go right. He's going to go right. Van Allen Lubin, the isolation play early. Hey, he likes to go to his left shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like his dad's a coach.
Weird, yeah, very coachy coach, right?
Almost like, he's been there, done that a little bit. Obviously, for me, it's surreal to see him in this building.
Yes.
Where he led UMBC as a 16 seed to a win over Virginia in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it was odd for him to walk into the building today.
I'm sure a little bit.
Right? I get everyone's over it at Virginia. It's not me needling you the 16-1. It's more of the history doesn't repeat, it rhymes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are the odds that the guy who set the historic mark of being the first 16 to beat a 1 now is coaching that team in the same building?
Where was Tony Bennett?
I don't know, but I'm telling you, they got it right. And not just because of this year's results, just watching his demeanor, watching the way that he is with his team. I'll say that first and foremost. Now, second,
real quick on that.
Yeah,
to your point,
because that's not a shot at Will. I know some people are going to take it that way.
No,
it's not a shot at Will.
First and foremost, what I will say, and I feel strongly about this as we get further away from pandemic basketball, I would like coaches to go back to wearing suits.
They certainly didn't make enough money.
Call me an old man. Tell me it's an old man yelling at cloud thing. But watching Ryan Odom coach in a suit gives gravitas, some authority. Like there's an adult here, okay?
Yeah.
And when Hubert Davis, hey, he can clearly move in his suit.
Yeah.
Okay. Alexander Julian tailors it just fine because Hubert will get up and down the floor, fired up, kicking and screaming about stuff. So clearly it's not a movement issue. Okay. You can be comfortable in those suits if you pay the right tailor. There's just something about, I don't know, it makes it feel right watching basketball when you see a coach in a suit, okay? So I would love for Will Wade to wear a suit. I would love for John Shire to wear a suit, et cetera, right? It goes beyond that. Anyway, I want to get off my soapbox. But what you said about Ryan Odom is something that I noticed when Virginia was at Lenovo Center earlier this year when I went to the game with some friends. And you watch him, and he never really gets flustered. He's very, very calm. He's very in control, and you can watch him instruct the team in a very just kind of almost teacher-like, hey, so this happened. I am mad at you, but here's where you're going to correct it, whatever. And this is the advantage that you get, and where we had today, sitting behind the Virginia bench. You get to see even closer than when I saw it when I was at the NC State-Virginia game where I was across from the bench. So, again, this is not in any sort of indication. This is not – I'm with you. This is not anything about Will Wade. It's more so along the lines of when you watch it up close and you see what Virginia's been doing this season and you have those year-to-year propositions, as you like to say, you kind of like trust hey, man, this guy seems to have it under some control here, and it was impressive to watch today.
So I thought State played as good as they can play in the first half of this game, and I thought Virginia was slightly off. I thought Onyenso was the one in the first half who really kept Virginia breathing and treading water. And remember now, he's their third big, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
He's their third big. And he had 8. He finished this game with 8 blocks, which obviously is impressive. And it was a presence. I thought when Virginia cracked the game open midway through the second half, he was really behind it. But I thought DeRitter, again, he's a pro. And I thought, now he's 23 also as a freshman or first year or whatever they do up there. Again, I'm on my best behavior here. I thought he asserted himself and was aggressive in the second half. And then Thomas was the other player that I was really impressed with Virginia. Now, those are two things that we can spin going forward for NC State. Thomas was a really accomplished scorer in the West Coast Conference last year at San Francisco. Did we see State go and get a 20-plus scorer from a different league? It doesn't always have to be that way, but it's easier to extrapolate a guy can do X if he's already done X. You know what I mean? Competition has changed. Obviously, Thomas's numbers are different at Virginia, but I thought he's another option that really helps them. They have a lot of different parts, too. Not all of them athletic. That obviously concerns me. They have a shocker. The white guard is a transfer from BYU.
Oh,
I don't know if I needed the scorecard to see that one. But no, overall, I thought their size, again, a difference maker because I thought DeRitter and Onyenso in particular. Now, again, spinning this thing going forward, I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that it's easy to find these guys. I'm going to tell you Onyenso's numbers from Kansas State last year and Kentucky the previous year. Okay. Last year at Kansas State, he played 11 minutes a game, 2.8 points per game, 2.4 rebounds per game. The year before at Kentucky, 3.6 points per game, 4.8 rebounds per game. This year at his numbers at Virginia are pretty similar to what he did at Kentucky, but he's got 6.4 points, 4.9 rebounds, and the 2.6 blocks per game. What I'm getting at is it's just not that easy sometimes to look at the numbers. That is a shot at Will and Andrew Slater. Sometimes you got to you see a human being who's 7 feet tall and is easily a 9-foot wingspan. You saw the guy. He's 10 feet from you. Why are you going to the Peach Jam? Why are you going to all these events if you can't look at a guy and see what he can be?
Right.
And how he can help your team.
Right.
And that's where I'll give Ryan Odom credit. It ain't the sexy numbers sometimes. Sometimes you got to watch a guy play and see what his impact can be for your program. So hats off to Virginia. They now move on in this tournament. And, you know, we'll see what happens tonight with our 2 blue bloods. But I don't see any reason with their depth why Virginia couldn't win this thing.
I could see them winning this. I know it's gotten to the point where Florida State beating Duke is such a trendy thing to say or something that people are like, oh, look out for this, that I don't think it's going to happen now. And I think we'll end up with Duke Carolina part 3. That could be interesting, but obviously we'll spend some more time talking about that later. To the OG Sports Phone.
Before you do that, though,
a lot of text today.
Before you do that, I noticed this from Kelly, and I had the same thought. Watching this team in the first half, I thought to myself, now, wait a second. Why did it take until March 12th? Because Kelly's right. Existential question of the day. Why haven't we seen this type of team more this year? The way they played today, they could have won a couple of games in the NCAA. What will happen? Who knows? I agree. I had that question in my head while I'm watching the first half going, where has this team been all year?
Well,
right. You have some stretches from the Kansas game.
Yeah.
You have some stretches from the Carolina game, but obviously Carolina's missing 2 important parts. They blew the doors off of Liberty, which was fine. Like Florida State, who we're going to see tonight, is a fine team, and they put it on Florida State. But this felt like, you know, they're the way that they should have been playing all along. You know what I mean?
Well, how about this? I was going to go to another OG Sports Phone text because a lot of people texting today, which is fine. You're all at work or something like that, so you're probably texting, not calling in while you're at your cubicle or whatever it is. This is, I believe, from a 919. LMAO, they played the Will Wade clip during saying Darion Williams affects winning on the broadcast right before he got his 3rd foul in the first half, which I know Will Wade was not exactly pleased about. I think he called it a soft-ass call at some point during that rant. Anyway, so the reason why this is a good launching point to possibly answer that question, because I got another text, somebody had taken a picture of ESPN showing, hey, they're going to do the Will Wade montage. How much you want to bet Giglio's going to be in this one? I'm like, well, of course it's going to be in this. As I always like to say, the old radio axiom, play the hits. And that was one of the hits of the year. However, lost in the hits of the year, we're only playing the one where he's super, super hyped up and defending Darion Williams, right? In the montage, which I did not see, but I'm guessing the montage did not feature all the times in which he kind of shat on the team, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to say, where has this been all year? Well, I would like to know, and maybe this gets answered at the end of the season in some sort of, post-mortem on the year about what he has learned and whatnot. Was it the right way to basically try to coach this team through the media the way that he did this year, both the good and the bad? I mean, hell, even yesterday, somebody had asked a question about Pitt's three-pointers. He's like, well, they hadn't seen our defense yet. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear your coach constantly do that, I don't know about you, but I would be like, oh, well, shit, man, do I really want to go out there and do the thing? You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So I would like to know how much of that might have played into this team maybe not getting to its potential. Because, look, as much as people want to bang on you, Giglio, for like, oh, man, it seems like you hate this team, I would simply point out that you can go and look at Will Wade's press conferences and see he also didn't really seem like he liked this team either. And that obviously bleeds into how you go about playing basketball. For instance, you get this text. I don't get Giglio's hate for Wade. We're all frustrated with this team and over the defensive BS. Just accept it for what it is and move on. The continual dumping on Wade and the team is old. If we do have this same shit next year, then we would have a problem. Also, why the Q hate? He is the only entertaining aspect of this team.
I think you're confusing hate for actual analysis that you don't agree with.
Yes.
Like, again, I can't stress to you enough that you can't watch basketball from a hockey press box. Okay. So I'm here. I'm at the game yesterday. I noticed what they're doing. I'm offering you my take on what I see. It's really not much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you don't see it that way, that's fine. Now, with Q, I don't get fake tough. I don't. I'm sorry. So he did this against Duke, where he's standing out there and trying to watch him in language. Something with his eyeballs, trying to fornicate with his eyeballs, right? So
undress you with his eyeballs.
It's just
look into my eye sockets.
If you could have been out there and saw the warm up, then Alan Lubin is in his pullover shirt. Okay. He's drenched with sweat. He's got a headband. It's drenched with sweat. You know what that is? A productive use of your time. Standing at the half-court line and just mean mugging everybody. And there was a point in this game, by the way, where Virginia was making their run, where he goes to the basket, doesn't get a foul, stops and looks at Lee Cassell. What did Virginia do? Oh, Tista Ritter sprinted down the end. Tista Ritter, who was guarding him, sprints to the other end of the floor and scores an easy basket. So if you want to die on that hill that you love somebody because they act tough before the game or because they had one good game against Carolina when Caleb Wilson didn't play, that's awesome. That's awesome for you. But that's not consistent with who I am. And if you can't handle actual analysis, then I would say you can't really actually handle this podcast. Okay? So that would be my suggestion to you.
From AT, working people catching strays. I'm just saying, we're working too. I get it. You're in the office today, watching basketball on company time. I salute you for that. And then you're now watching us, which I also salute. All right, let's go to Patrick Stevens because we actually have some interesting NCAA bracket things to get to that go beyond the ACC.
Seeded territory, the bracket is the story. Patrick Stevens tells it like it is.
Patrick Stevens joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. It happened, Patrick. Miami lost.
Miami lost.
To UMass?
To UMass. Did you realize that UMass was in the Mid-American Conference?
Well, I thought weren't they in some weird probationary?
No, they were never in the probationary period.
Oh, okay.
They were there for football for a little bit, but not in every other sport. And then they finally decided they needed to pursue their football dreams and join the Mid-American Conference. So they basically took all of their teams to a league in another part of the country. Well, not that much further away, but further away than where they've been, and went 0-12 in football, but now they have this nifty victory over Miami.
Gotcha. Okay, so Miami's in, right? Like this is not.
I think so.
Because somewhere Bruce Pearl was activated, man. His glutes activated. He's ready to go. What's up?
You keep saying Miami, and I got Miami over here.
It's Miami,
Doster
Ohio.
tweeted before Miami loses. I'm like, they haven't even played yet. What? What's happening?
Like, wait, what? Hold up. Are they doing?
The Red Hawks?
Are they doing a game over at Bojangles?
Ben
am I missing something?
Roethlisberger's alma mater.
So, couple stats for you. There has never been a team with more than 28 victories left out of the NCAA tournament. Also, there has never been an eligible team that takes care of a UNLV exception, an eligible team with 2 or fewer losses that has been left out of the NCAA tournament. That said, I really have no idea exactly how the committee is going to treat this unicorn of a team. 31-1, one of the worst non-conference schedules in the country. Not great wins to show for it, but they're 31-1. So how do you seed that team? I don't think anybody knows. My guess, and it's admittedly a hedge, but I'm going to guess that they're going to end up on the 10 line. If there's enough carnage elsewhere, maybe they get squeezed to Dayton, where they would basically be playing a home game against a borderline tournament team. But my guess is they end up on the 10 line, and that squeezes somebody. In this case, Santa Clara, in this projection, down into Dayton.
Oh, not out, though.
Not out.
Not out. The
Okay.
team that's squeezed out, Auburn.
Poetic. Poetic.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle. God, Bruce Pearl's going to go on any. We might as well reach out to Bruce Pearl because he'll go on any podcast that invites him, so he can just scream about Auburn being left out of the NCAA tournament because of Miami. It'd be hilarious. I love it. Anyway,
What about the Wolves?
Yeah.
Patriots? I
What
know it
happened?
feels like it's a non-update update, but
So it's kind of a non-update. The Miami, Ohio loss did much more damage to NC State than its loss to Virginia did. Basically, we talked about this last week or earlier this week. You know, the field, you can have pressure from above or you can have pressure from below, one or the other. That's pressure from above. And so that's one less at-large spot. Akron is sort of the placeholder, the highest remaining seed. I have Miami right there, just above NC State. Again, I'm guessing on Miami of Ohio, but that would put NC State with 2 spaces to spare before heading to Dayton. So if there's enough upsets, it's possible. I have them just ahead of Missouri, which is, I believe, wrapping up a loss. Yeah, they just lost to Kentucky by 6. Okay. So I think NC State would avoid Dayton before Missouri did. So as of now, I have them as the 32nd at-large selection.
all right. One other bracket update before we say goodbye, and we appreciate your time. All these bracket updates are over at oviasandgilio.com. Again, that's oviasandgilio.com. Although you did hit me with this new spreadsheet. If you're watching on YouTube right now, sorry for the podcast only listeners. I pulled up one of Patrick's spreadsheets here on the YouTube.
this is the premise of they will put 37 at-large teams in, whether you like it or not.
You got to fill out the field, which actually does get me to my question. But what am I looking at here, Patrick? I see a lot of green and red.
So the greens are wins and the reds are losses, and these are all of the games that have occurred this month.
Okay.
And so this is sort of an illustration of just how poorly the teams right around the edge of the field have performed.
I see.
Since the start of the month.
Yikes, Texas.
And there's not a lot of green on there. There's certainly not a lot of high-end green. Like that Santa Clara St. Mary's victory, that matters. It certainly looks better than just about anything anyone else has done right around the edge of the field. And you kind of look at Oklahoma as like the one team down there that's like, maybe they could get themselves on a little bit of a
well, you know
Ohio
what?
State has played themselves in, I believe.
Yes. In fact, I would argue now that they probably passed Iowa by beating the Hawkeyes today.
You know who I don't see in your spreadsheet? Florida State.
They are actually the next team up after this.
Okay, so it's funny when we got
Pressure from above, pressure from below.
So Joe and I were chatting with ESPN ACC Network analyst, studio host Taylor Tannenbaum. We always love catching up with Taylor Tannenbaum. She went to Florida State, so I just kind of said, "Hey, stranger things have happened with Florida State and Duke. Florida State beats Duke tonight, which I know is a trendy thing, as I mentioned earlier. Who's to say they don't, given how they've been playing the back half of the season, definitely a team you don't want to play. If they beat Duke, maybe they get in the conversation. Is it that simple?"
Well, I'll tell you what, I had not had them even on the at-large edge of the field breakdown until this morning. But
Okay.
If you go to oviusandgilio.com, there they are.
Hell yeah.
Florida State, just basically saying, you know what, for a team that was like 136th in the net on January 16th or something like that, it's remarkable just how far they've come and put themselves in a spot where they might be discussed as one of the last few teams outside the field. But there's just not enough games left, even if it's a victory over Duke, victory over Carolina, loss to whoever in the final. I don't think there's enough runway there for Florida State to realistically be an at-large team.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Patrick, we appreciate it as always. Fantastic stuff over on our website, which I'd like know the name, oviusandgilio.com. It's very easy to remember, as you can see off the top of my head. I'm like, wait, what's it called again? Oh, yes, Ovius and Gilio. But I see the comments. Yeah, the people who are acting like, oh, they do read the comments. Yeah, we do read the comments. I don't always highlight the comments, but we do read the comments. But we have a few people here. Here's Ken. Bobblehead. People want to see a bobblehead, Patrick.
They want to see a bobblehead?
Show us a bobblehead.
All right.
Show us.
Have I used the Billy Joel before?
No.
How
about that?
where did you come up with that?
What is that?
There was a Billy Joel night at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia.
That looks like Ben Kingsley. Like, that does not look like Billy Joel, man. Who is that?
Well,
wait. Let him say it again. Where he got it?
it was in a Phillies game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is that? That's not Billy Joel. I love the bobbleheads. It's like they have a stock of them. They're like, I don't know. Which one? How do you want to paint this one? I don't know.
For some reason, I thought Patrick went to a Billy Joel concert. That's where I was getting excited.
Yeah. You're not gonna get that. Sorry, Joe. That joke won't be there.
Oh, okay.
That glee will be is not going to be something you'll get to enjoy. But don't worry, you'll find something else to poke fun at me for. I have confidence in you, Joe.
All right, Patrick. We appreciate it, man. We will talk to you later.
Take care.
Housekeeping is brought to you by Inovana. Check them out online at inovana.com. Green Cleaning Solutions.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Inovana.
We've got OG Light Bracket Night happening on Monday. As I mentioned, go to oviusandgilio.com. You can see that right there. It says get tickets here. Click on that. $49 plus $2 in a handling fee, because nothing on the internet is free, unfortunately. It is what it is. You will get a barbecue buffet, the full spread. It's going to be a fantastic night. Dessert and a pint of OG Light. You'll be hanging out with us. What I would like to do on Monday, I would like to do a show that is interactive. Okay? Because I feel like this would be putting you in your bag.
Okay.
You will be beamed up for this one.
Beamed up.
Be highly caffeinated. For people to be talking about matchups, who should go where, etc. All for the quest of your perfect bracket.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there'd be some fun Q&A that we can do on that. And also, it would be great if people say, I'm calling this, and they actually have something they can brag about. Like, so, see, basically, it's like this for people at the office. This is where y'all are accusing me of, y'all catching strays at work. No, I want to help you. Because how many times have you been in an office pool and you say, oh, well, I had this in my bracket or whatever it is. I love that. That looks good from Color Graphic.
Mm-hmm.
I like how that looks. By the way, sales at colorgraphic.com. Sales at colorgraphic.com if you want some cool designs like that. Posters, flags, car wraps. I mean, whatever your needs are, they got you. Okay. Signs, sandwich boards, banners, all that stuff. They got you. So sales@colorgraphic.com. We appreciate them sponsoring our social media stuff as well. But what I'm allowing you an opportunity to have is you call your shot on some crazy upset. You're like, man, nobody believes you. Like, no, go back to Ovies and Giglio at this timestamp, and you will hear me call this. So that's what I'd like to do. In the meantime, go to oviesandgiglio.com, click on that button right there. It'll take you to the landing page to buy tickets for OG Light Bracket Night. Also, big thanks to our friends at Bailey's. Check them out online at baileybox.com. Fox and Bailey is the watch shop, but it's beyond a watch shop. It's just actually a cool hang.
Mm-hmm.
They have vintage, exclusive watches to choose from. Highly curated. You're going to love the selection. They also have a selection of vinyl that you can buy. They also have bourbon, speaking of curated selections. And we're going to be there on the 19th. We're going to celebrate my birthday on the 19th. Is that what you said?
Still working on that.
Still working on that.
Yes.
We're not official yet.
We will be there soon. It's
We
just
don't-
a matter of they have a big event. I wanted to promote the big event.
Perfect. I just
But
didn't
we're
know
just
if that
trying
was
to figure that out.
I didn't know if
Not
that was
nailed down
official
quite
yet. Okay,
Not
got
quite
it.
yet.
Either way, I will be there for their watch event. That's
Yes.
taking place March 20th and 21st at Fox and Bailey. So head on over to baileybox.com to find out more. Now, that's something for you. A little something for you. Maybe you're thinking in the future for like Father's Day or something like that. Any number of things that you can think of at Fox and Bailey. However, it also is engagement season. And if you have been thinking about popping the big question, I highly recommend you go to Bailey's Fine Jewelry. The customer service is top notch. I would know. That's where I got Kelly's engagement ring. So baileybox.com. Again, that's baileybox.com. Now, you're probably wondering, how the hell am I going to afford engagement ring? How am I going to afford all these watches?
Yeah.
I don't know. Refinance your house. Take cash
Simple.
out.
Just take care of our needs, people.
I'm trying to find corporate synergy here.
Let's-
Cash out.
Come on.
So head on over to millerlending.com, 919-447-3377. I actually saw a headline today about interest rates and at their highs and how they're going to fluctuate, all the world events that are taking place right now. What effect does that have on decisions being made in DC and how that affects things, something as simple as your interest rate on your home. So the best way to go about this is, you see the headline, then talk to the experts about what that means for you, okay? Not what it means for national trends, what that means for areas of the country. What does that mean for you, okay? That's why you contact our friends at Miller Lending. MillerLending.com, 919-447-3377. Especially if you're thinking about buying a house. Market conditions might not be ideal with these interest rates. This is why you shouldn't pay closing costs to get a slightly lower rate that might be obsolete in 6 months. Don't pay closing costs. Contact Miller Lending, 919-447-3377. And, of course, our friends at Two Roosters. Check them out online, tworoosters.com. Thanks to everybody who voted for our flavor to get through our first matchup in the bracket. We will be asking you to vote for it again because we want to win this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So check out Two Roosters' social channels. They're always dropping high-quality content that makes you want to go to Two Roosters. Okay? It's fantastic stuff. Their photog, who we've met, does an amazing job of just making that ice cream pop, man. But as you know, it can look good on a photo. How's it going to be when you actually eat it? Because there's a lot of influencers out there that try to do this. Look how crazy this is. But it doesn't hold up to the pictures. Two Roosters always delivers. Always delivers. Duke Carolina might deliver, but Two Roosters always delivers. So check them out online at tworoosters.com. And we didn't do a consecutive ACC tournaments win you get ice cream promotion. It ended. Shout out to the person on the sports phone that says NC State hasn't lost in the ACC tournament since 2023. Okay. Some of you just don't get sarcastic humor now, do you? Like, come on, y'all. Like, y'all took us seriously with that? I have questions. But what you should take seriously is Two Roosters. So check them out online at tworoosters.com. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. Well, it is forever grateful season as we are drawing this basketball season to a close. Some seasons are over. Brendan Marks from The Athletic joining us now on the Heister Automotive Group microphone here at ACC Tournament. A lot of programs are saying, "Hey, man, we appreciate you but it's time to move on. Forever grateful for your services. Like in the case of Syracuse, I'm getting the vibe that, hey, they're even going forever grateful on the Jim Boeheim connection. Like, hey, Jim, appreciate your entire life being dedicated to this university.
Thank you so much.
But
however, we want nothing to do with you now. Yes. So I obviously honestly, I don't know if they were forever grateful for Red Autry. And I wrote this yesterday, but you look at his tenure and, he's obviously, that job is probably the juiciest job that's open, not just in the ACC, but maybe nationally.
Yeah.
And it's very much a question of like, what do you want to be in this era?
Yeah.
Do you want to continue to be Boeheim, and do you want to continue to be tradition and nostalgia and hoping that you can get a discount because of, the laundry that you wear? Or are you actually willing to put your money where your mouth is?
It's interesting you bring that up because we talked to Matt Norlander from CBS a couple weeks ago about this when it was fairly obvious that Syracuse was going to be moving on. And it's like, I don't know how to view that job without the Boeheim of it all. Yeah. But clearly Syracuse wants to make sure, let's find out.
Yeah, I think you have to at this point, right? Yeah. And it's that way. How many of these secession plans go wrong? How many of them go right?
All of them not named John Shire.
There's one.
Right.
I mean, although as someone explained to me once, Bill Self has done a heck of a job replacing Roy Williams.
This is true.
So,
okay.
While not planned.
Right. This is true.
There has been one person who's been able to follow the man, be the man who follows the guy.
But these almost never work. And, I think the Autry tenure looks a lot like Villanova and Jay Wright.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a totemic Hall of Fame guy. He is the program. Outside of him, there had been pockets of success. Boeheim was there longer, obviously. But you try running it in the family. It doesn't work. And now you have to decide, okay, do we want to continue banging our heads against this wall, or are we going to do what everyone else in the sport is doing?
Can we be honest about what they tried within the family, though?
Well, yes.
I'm being serious right now. I watch them and I'm like, why aren't you playing zone?
Yep.
Why aren't you recruiting to the zone? The one thing in this week, maybe I'm trying to be a little bit nicer today. You ready for this?
I love this.
Have you had your mushroom coffee yet?
I have had my mushroom coffee. I'm going to try to be a little bit nicer today.
Good.
The one thing Herb Sendek always got right,
mm-hmm.
he was not going to beat Duke and Carolina at their game.
Yeah.
It was not.
Yeah.
And so he said, what can I do to be different? How can I recruit players to a specific style of play to combat the fact that they're always going to have better talent than I do? So I appreciate Boeheim made a switch. Now, I'm
so close. You're so close.
I said nice. I said one.
No. But there's.
I know who perfected
Joe.
it.
Joe, you're so close.
I'm not giving that to him. Boeheim, when I was growing up, when he was competing in the Big East, he was getting Billy Owens. He was getting Sherman Douglas. Billy Owens was a gigantic recruit.
Oh my God! Yeah.
He gets to 96, and by that point, he went zone, and the zone became who he was.
Yep.
And then he had tremendous success. He should have beaten Indiana in 87 with the super team. Did not. Got out coached by Bob Knight. Get in line. Everyone else did too.
Yeah.
He went to the zone, built a better mousetrap. I've seen Syracuse now at this event. I've seen them in Raleigh. I've seen them in Chapel Hill. And I'm like, who are you?
You're just another team.
And while I respect John Shire for making every attempt to not be Mike Krzyzewski, makes every attempt to not be him. I think in the specific case of Syracuse basketball and Jim Boeheim, it would have been okay to keep the zone, recruit to the zone, play a different system, build a better mousetrap.
It was one of the first questions. I mean, I remember when Red Autry got hired, I was at Peace Jam. First question I asked him, are you going to run zone? That's what everybody wanted to know. Are you going to run zone? And he said no. And I called Boeheim and said, if you were starting a program today, would you run it? And he said no.
Interesting.
Because I don't think that I'm getting cooked.
Oh, okay.
Given the way the game has changed.
Yeah.
And so the game has changed, but the actual game itself has changed too. So, but I understand your larger point. But it
worked.
It did work.
I guess I'm sounding like somebody who covered Nebraska football in the 80s saying, just run the wishbone, guys.
But now I think what you're going to see is, especially with some of these guys that Syracuse is talking to, and they're going to talk to Jerry. They're going to talk to Jerry Mack.
They have to.
I said Jerry and bring in Hopkins as the consigliere.
They're going to talk to Jerry Mack, but I think, Brian Hodgson from South Florida is the clubhouse leader. He wants the job. Mutual interest is a thing,
Okay.
All things considered equal.
I think it's a great job in New York. I think you just saw what
Is it a great job?
I do. You saw what Patino did. No, it's investment.
It's investment.
You have to have the investment.
Right.
I mean,
they got the motivation. They got the fan base.
they really do.
And the thing is, money doesn't correlate to success. You guys know this, right?
Not always.
Not
Not
always.
always.
Not-
Right,
but
Just
yes,
ask Kentucky.
but you have to be in the ballpark of competitiveness.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this
yeah.
year, for the first time, Syracuse with Red was in the ballpark of competitiveness. And I think his coaching weaknesses cost them.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
piss on the guy's grave.
No.
I mean,
No. What you're getting at though now is you're finding right fit and being competitive, right? So that gets us to Boston College and Georgia Tech,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I've made
the right
this
fit
work.
is the Big East.
Yeah.
Well, if we bring Pitt into this conversation, I do have a larger meta point about some of these teams and how the game has changed. Their conference has changed and how they play basketball has changed in what their identity is. That's not as much as we've been trying to meld these two conferences together. I'm sorry, the ACC won. Okay, the ACC won. You cannot mash the Big East vibe and the ACC vibe together. So you might as well adopt that thing. They struggled long and hard to get to this point. So we'll see. That's the Syracuse. But I've referenced this before, but it's very, very important in the context of this conversation. When Josh Pastner was the coach at Georgia Tech, we brought him pizza that one time because of the whole John Calipari thing. Shout out to Oakwood Pizza Box. And he blamed the pizza for losing that day too, right? To losing to State. But he said to us, we have negative NIL, right? Like he's like joking, but I got what his overall point was.
Right.
Georgia Tech is in a great spot,
Yep.
in a great conference, but they don't have the money to support them,
Correct.
or they haven't necessarily invested in it. Boston College is another thing. It's not like Boston College doesn't have history.
Right.
The other day, we were going through those old Al Skinner teams from back in the day running flex. It was like, they had some freaking dudes back in the day.
Right.
But it ain't that game anymore. So
No.
what do these schools do? They have to recognize it.
Yeah, you do recognize it. And I do think, you look this year at one of the big, we've talked about this a bunch of times. The reason the ACC is better this year, oh, look, you've got 5 teams spending over $10 million on the roster. What?
And credit to Jim Phillips for that, by
Yeah,
the way.
100%.
Yeah.
He took them aside last year or 2 years ago and said, hey, guys,
Mhm.
there's
They
only
go
one
cut
way
it.
out of this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So I think credit to Phillips for that. The ACC, some of these teams have put in, and now it's up for the rest. You
Yeah.
got to decide, how much do you care? How much do you care? And so I think for Syracuse, like specifically, they were in the band of competitiveness last year.
Mhm.
Pitt was not.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech was not. Boston College, I wouldn't even use the word competitiveness in the same sentence
Right.
for Boston College's NIL.
They paid Donald Ham.
Correct. And so you have to decide, okay, am I going to up the investment?
Yeah.
Am I going to try and find somebody who's used to working and trying to make more with less? Or am I just going to keep treading water? And,
Yeah.
I think for a lot of these programs, if you don't up the investment significantly, you're kind of fated to that.
Pitt's in that boat too.
100%. If you, do you have the money to even move on from
Do
Jeff
they have an
Capel?
AD that even cares about basketball?
That's a great question. At least they have an AD. Syracuse doesn't even have an AD.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, again, this conversation is taking place when we don't really know what's going on with Pitt. But
No, I think we do.
but
I
Jeff
think-
Capel
I think-
sounded like a guy that didn't
Yeah.
really. It didn't sound like there's a lot of communication, and I don't think he would be all that bent out of shape if he did not come back. To
I'm
Pitt.
telling you, his assistants yesterday
look
like us in that conference room. That's what they. I recognize the look.
Yeah.
It's just
It's like
just
it's over.
something in your eyes.
Yeah.
They just disappear, and
Right.
you're just like,
Yeah.
oh shit. It becomes a crisis.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I going to do with my life?
Right.
Right.
And I know coaches land. I know that, and I know
Yeah.
the Capels will as well. Speaking of landing, do we think Keats has a chance in Atlanta?
Ooh.
I don't know about Atlanta, but I do. He's certainly in the mix.
Okay.
He's looking around. He's seeing what's possible. I think the ACC is obviously a natural landing spot for him. However, let me sell you on one step removed from Atlanta,
Oh. okay.
where Takayo Siddle leaves UNC Wilmington,
And then he goes back to Wilmington.
and Kevin Keats gets to
I
go
could
home.
see him wanting to do that.
And Kevin Keats gets to
Well,
go
he is home, so
Yeah, right. So,
that's where
I was gonna say he kept that home, right?
he
Yeah.
sold his one in Raleigh. Still
Okay,
lives
so-
down.
so I think that's
I don't blame him. I'd rather.
That's an
live in
option. I
Wilmington,
think Bob Ritchie from Furman is an option at Georgia Tech too.
Okay.
Depending on what happens with Kansas State, maybe Casey Alexander at Belmont. Then John Shire probably loses another assistant to Belmont. Evan Brad's Belmont.
So is
legend.
that the new tree? Is it the John Shire tree?
I mean,
Is that what we're doing now?
it's getting there?
Are we getting to that point?
Who's going to claim Chris Carrawell, him or K?
Oh, that's got to be K. Carrawell's one of K's soldiers, dude.
He's
Like-
been one of John's. So
I get that.
He's the guy who got John the job.
Well, then maybe he's just a Duke soldier. He'll never go anywhere.
No, he's going to go somewhere.
You think he's gonna go somewhere?
He almost got the Florida State job last year. He was a
Okay.
finalist for that. I think he'll get a sniff at Georgia Tech too.
Okay.
He's been at the best place you can be to learn
Yeah.
under it. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
my only question is when does Kentucky come get Jay Lucas?
Brendan's making faces.
Mark Pope, I don't think is Having gone through what we went through with Hubert last year, this year, probably next year, Kentucky fans, get ready to learn hot seat.
Oh boy, great. Although Hubert,
well, they already know. I mean, they're lunatics.
Yes, and I think that he can. I mean, separate. I think he can fix things.
So let's talk about NC State and Will Wade year one. Yeah. Look, we don't have to beat a dead horse here. This was not the year that anybody expected. He was not hired to have a 10-8 ACC record playing on a sleepy noon game against Pitt. So, and he's been very sarcastic about this group. He was sarcastic again yesterday.
Sarcastic is a word.
Yeah, I recognize the sarcasm when I write. It's funny. Joe and I talk about this all the time when we see some State fans who get all upset about how we talk about this team. And it's like, what do you always say? Like, have you listened to your coach talk about this team?
Right.
Like, come on now.
Right.
So clearly he has some buyer's remorse this year, right?
Of course.
So how do you fix that?
Yeah, I had a conversation with Will for a totally separate story that I'm working on a couple of days ago. And, I think one thing that he would admit if you talk to him whenever the season ends, I think he'll probably say something to this extent is, for as successful as he's been at every stop of his career, he did get back in the high major game when it had become a different game. And I think that there was more of an adjustment period in evaluating talent, evaluating prices. How fast do I go? Who do I wait on? Is anyone worth waiting on? I think all of those sorts of things, he maybe didn't know quite as much as he thought he did in his first high major cycle.
Okay.
And so I would expect, assuming the personnel around him stays the same, they are going to be much more intentional about, hey, like the front court, they're not going to be able to have Van Allen Lubin as their tallest, best guy.
No.
They're not going to be able to have these high name, brand name guys underperforming, unhappy. He's not doing the Darion Williams song and dance again next year, for sure.
Okay. I guess my next question to that would be going back to Will Wade's introductory press conference where he talked about everybody singing from the same page. Is everybody on the same page in the athletic department? Knowing what, if Will's learned these lessons, I've learned, where we are right now, where high major basketball is right now, the other investments that's happened in the ACC, and we saw the difficulty of the ACC ramp up this year. All good things for the league,
100%.
All great things for competition, all the things that everybody wants out of this conference. So now that he's had this kind of fact-finding mission throughout the season, you got to go back to your administration and be, hey, guys, I've learned these things. Where does that stand?
Yeah, so like you guys know this, NC State is in the upper band of the ACC.
Yes.
Right? There's a clear tier A in the ACC, and NC State is not at the top of that tier, but they're in that tier, which is not something that was the case for Kevin Keats.
But you still need to keep up with everybody else.
You do need to keep up with well, hey, it's a tough neighborhood.
It is a tough neighborhood.
It's a tough neighborhood,
always
guys.
Comes back to that.
It's a tough neighborhood.
I would just to slightly correct you. There is a Duke tier, and then there's a tier A.
Yes. There's a tier 1A and a tier 1B. Yes.
There's Duke and everybody else.
However,
they're not down there with Pitt and everybody else. No. Which is where they were.
The band of competitiveness this year at the high major level was $8 to $10 million.
Okay.
You had to be at $8 to $10 million.
Okay.
And when you look at a lot of these teams, like you look at a Wake Forest, for example, you go, they had one big, you know what? They're $2 million short. They're one player short of having that kind of team.
How about that?
It's quite literally the math. And so NC State, people expect prices are going to rise. How that works with NIL Go and the CSC, nobody knows. But people are expecting prices to rise. Agents are expecting prices to rise. Players are expecting prices to rise. I think that Will's going to have to get creative.
Okay.
I think that he's going to have to tap internationally more than he did.
Okay.
I think he's going to have to go to the high school ranks.
Okay.
I know they've got Cole already on campus. If you can learn a thing from the tough neighborhood, it's the value of a reclass. What's cheaper than a high school senior? A high school junior. So I think overall they're going to have to be more flexible.
Okay.
Are they going to be able to keep up monetarily with Duke? No. But are they going to be able to keep up monetarily to have a better year than they've had this year?
Yeah.
I would say yes.
I just hope the lessons are learned. We could talk about their defensive philosophy another day, but
philosophy?
Yes, exactly.
Hey, Pitt hadn't seen their defense. That's why they did so well. All right, Brendan, before we say goodbye, we did say forever grateful. hopefully I'm not giving away too much here, but it seemed that the Belichick crew was forever grateful for you this past year. They sent you a Christmas card?
Christmas card for me. I know a couple of others locally got one.
Okay.
The OG crew, I'm understanding.
We did not get.
Notably,
we
did not make the Christmas card list.
Get a Christmas card
No,
list.
that's
One of my
That's-
great questions of all time
Yeah.
to Mark Gottfried after they got screwed
Yeah.
against Carolina,
Mhm.
and he was livid in year one. It was the Kendall Marshall, Alex Johnson play. Sometimes I didn't know what Fulgilio was until he explained to me what Fulgilio was. So
You leaned in so much, and I before you.
I said that in that presser. I said, so Brian Dorsey, is he going to be on your Christmas card list?
I
this year?"
remember this.
Yes, I do too.
And after the game, Mark, this is before Mark and I were good.
Yeah.
After the game, Mark buzzes by me in the hallway and like hits me in the shoulder with his shoulder.
Yeah.
And it was like, fuck you. And I was like, and their PR guy at the time, Dwayne,
Oh, I remember Dwayne.
Goes,
Didn't that last long?
hey, if you think he's ever going to like you, don't ever do that again. And I was like, no,
Got it.
got it.
Noted.
Got it. But were you there in 2012?
No, I wouldn't have been.
Were you
I
there in
was
2012?
there.
He was yelling at Brian Dorsey, and Brian Dorsey was yelling at him.
Yelled back at
Wow.
Brian Dorsey was yelling at him.
Yes.
Like they were red. He didn't get a technical.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were red faced.
Yes.
And it was just this spectacle because remember,
Right.
that was the tournament with the KH tape, the
Mhm.
Carl Hess tape.
Yes.
Yep.
And so tensions were so high. And of course, I come in with the. So I guess
So,
Brian
yeah.
Dorsey's not on the Christmas
Yeah.
card list.
Ha 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 ha.
Timing, Julio.
Well,
Timing's everything.
Hey, man, I could have said the same thing watching yesterday's game where it's fairly obvious Will Wade has an official he does not like.
Yeah, Clarence Armstrong.
Clarence Armstrong.
Yeah.
He does not like Clarence
On the
Armstrong.
list.
He's
Again.
very much on the list. Although they had a moment yesterday. Because Clarence's sticker, his ACC tournament sticker on the back of the official's uniform fell off. And Will was helping to put it back on. They had a little chuckle. But at the start of the game, when I think Clarence was the one who had three straight
It was three. Yeah.
straight calls,
Oh, yeah.
again, much like
The Will Wade sideline show is a great watch.
well, yeah,
but
it's-
we were glad we had a
yeah,
ticket.
we're glad we got it. We're getting, it was amazing. But at one point, I think it was after the second call, he's looking now.
That was
they
the
can-
first call.
Was
And
the
he
first call?
Turned around and he just glared at Paul Braza.
Paul Braza
Glared
is
at
the commissioner for basketball for the ACC. For people who do not know, we've had conversations with Paul in the past. He's a great dude, and you could tell that Will was staring straight at him. I looked over at Paul. Paul's not paying attention, and Will just waited, and then he did it again. See, you see me now? You see me now? So these are the things. This is why we come, folks.
yeah, of course.
This is why we come to these events, because these are things that you cannot see on television.
So Clarence Armstrong worked the Kansas game. And he worked the Miami game.
Yes.
Do you think he's
To
getting a
that-
Christmas card?
Two that Will would really, really like back.
Please ask him. If
Ask
he's
him.
getting a Christmas
And
card,
ask him-
please.
ask
Play
him-
the hits, remix
Yeah.
the hits.
And ask him what cardstock he'll use.
And maybe
for that.
Will responds, I don't know about all that.
Bring them all together. Bring them all together. Do you still have that Christmas card?
I do not.
Damn it,
I
man.
can't believe he didn't save it.
My wife
that
said
would
this-
be on. That would be in the studio on the wall,
Yes.
dude.
maybe if there's another year of Christmas cards to be sent, I'll make sure you guys
So
get this
we
year.
should FOIA the Christmas card list,
Yes.
see who still has one, and put it up in the
Doing
studio.
the Lord's work, as many would say.
Brendan Morris, The Athletic. We appreciate the time as always, man. We will talk to you later.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Now, speaking of press conferences, I was waiting for this video to finally get out there. Will Wade was not asked about sending anybody any Christmas cards, but he was asked about the LSU rumors. Shelby Swanson from the News and Observer got to the mic and asked about those rumors and if anybody from the LSU administration has reached out.
Shelby Swanson with the News and Observer. Just a lot of talk with you and potential position at LSU. Just wanted to see if anybody from that campus reached out to you and just give you an opportunity to speak on that.
No, is the job open there? Huh? No. So why would, I'm not, listen, to be very clear. I'm excited at NC State. I was hired at NC State to do a job. This wasn't going to take 1 year. I've already met with our administration about next year and some of the changes that we need to make and some of the things that we need to do to put this program where it deserves long term. So I'm not, I don't, I'm not on social media. I'm not into gossip. I'm not into any of that sort of stuff. But look, we're going to win, and we're going to win big at NC State, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do moving forward. And we have the resources we need. We have what we need. It's on me and my staff to get the job done. And look, this year hadn't gone exactly how we wanted it to, but we're going to rally, and we're going to work hard. We're going to have a team next year that's ready to roll.
So that was Will Wade responding to Shelby Swanson from the News and Observer as it relates to the LSU topic that's been floating around since early February. It has not gone away. It picked back up this week because of a website called Tiger Bait, I believe was the name of the website. And then some of what I would call the college basketball YouTube grifters got hold of it, like Aaron Torres. And he started beating. I'm straight up not a fan of Aaron Torres's work, and I will be upfront about that. So I'm just gonna be upfront about that. I'm not a fan of that dude's work, but he has some. What? What are you laughing at? What?
You're going, just go.
So he got that back. He's been tweeting through it, and things like that. Which of course this happened. So here's my read on this. Here's my read on it. I don't think I'm alone in thinking this. And you experienced this. We were talking about this with the whole Darion Williams makes winning plays thing, where he's waiting for a question. He wants this question. And in this particular case, I'm pretty sure that he wanted this question. This wasn't a gotcha question. This is a question that he clearly was ready for so that he could put it to rest as best he could. Because the rumor mill is going to continue to rumor mill, because there are people at LSU with money who do want him back. We do know that much, and that's going to keep getting floated out there. But for his part, that's what he can do, and I think he handled it the best way he possibly could in that situation by saying, "Hey, look, I talked to, like we were talking about with Brendan. Yeah, what are we going to do for next year? What did I learn? What do we have to do?" And that's how we presented it.
Yeah, listen, some people have asked on Twitter, "Oh, go ask about LSU. Go ask about LSU." And someone even pointed out, well, you guys were big to talk about the rumors last year. I mean, holy smokes. Joe gives you journalism 101 here. But try to do this as clean as possible.
Yeah, because there's a guy on the air now. So
there is.
So we have to be careful.
Let's do two things. First of all,
sure.
The way Will handled everything last year, on point.
Absolutely.
Perfection.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, handled his messaging at the NCAA tournament with McNeese last year better than any coach I've ever seen do it, to be perfectly honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's part of the reason I'm so disappointed with how his messaging has gone this year. Because the way he started, you couldn't have asked for a better masterclass than what he did last year in the NCAA tournament with McNeese, and the way that he handled when I broke the story that he was going to be NC State's next coach. Okay. Now, the second part of that is when a person on Twitter is like, "Oh, why don't you go ask? Why don't you go grandstand? Why don't you do this?" Look, I'm not above grandstanding. Okay. But the time to grandstand, I'm not saying Shelby did. The time to grandstand is when you have information.
Yeah.
Like, the reason you're able to report something is you have information from the NC State side. That's how I was able to break the news last year. I had information. Okay. So there's a difference. What I think LSU is doing is no different than 20 years of NC State basketball fans pining for Rick Barnes.
Yep.
That doesn't mean we go to a Texas press conference and say, "Rick, there's a school in North Carolina where you almost fought Dean Smith, and they really, really want you to be the coach there." Like, that's not a real thing.
Yeah.
So I don't see a whole lot of, I'm not impugning the people at LSU. I thought we did an unbelievable job in explaining what was going to happen.
Yeah.
In putting it in context and all the things that we did.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt in my mind there are important decision makers at LSU who would like for Will Wade to be their basketball coach.
Yeah.
I don't dispute that. We logically presented that. But no one on the NC State side, no one from a Will Wade camp or anywhere is saying, "Hey, this is what we think is going to happen." So, one of the other things Will was very super clear about with McNeese, other than the state reporting end of it, was, "Hey, I told McNeese I was going to be here for 2 years. This was my commitment. I'm doing this for 2 years." I think his answer today about talking about next year,
yes,
that's important, though.
Yes.
and I agree with you. He wanted the question because you have to get it out there that you're going to be here. You don't need to go. The season's going to end next whatever day in the first round.
Yeah, they're not getting out of the first weekend.
Guys,
they're not getting out of the first weekend.
Focus.
Now, if you want to old
start
takes
his messaging,
if I'm old takes exposed for that,
Sure.
hey man, love it. Just means more content for us.
He's got to get on top of his messaging, which I think he's doing here.
Yes.
He can't help himself apparently though with the we're going to win. Just let's put a good team together and compete the way that you did for.
I'm not
in today's game. But you're saying what are you going to learn from this year?
Yeah. Well, let's see how the offseason goes. And saying you're going to win big. I mean, every coach says that. I'm not going to get too wrapped up in that kind of stuff. I'm glad you brought up the episode we did back on February 19th. Okay. And I'll just say Pack Insider did like a kind of a roundup of how we got here, right? And at this point, like, guys, just add us, like, some popular radio show. Guys, come on now. Just say it was us. It's okay. It's not going to hurt you if you say you heard it on Ovius and Giglio, okay? Just like I just said, I read it on Pack Insider. And there was a misinterpretation of that show that I'm still bothered by. That was not in any way, shape, or form some sort of clickbait or whatever. We knew about those rumors. It's not like I'm an idiot. It's not like I'm not on the internet. I saw that stuff. It wasn't until our listeners started to ask us, hey, what's up with this? Okay. Now that you are genuinely interested in, hey, what's going on with this? How can we present it? And
there was also a main piece that moved.
Yes.
The board of trustees member, that piece triggers a different conversation. And again, the conversation can be what we had explaining, hey, there are people at LSU who make decisions who are interested in Will Wade.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because that was also the reason why it truly picked up steam. There was a guy who's been moved to the board of trustees who is a quote unquote Will Wade guy who also has ties to the current governor and previous governors who would like to have him back. And I also have every reason to believe that the radio host in Baton Rouge who spent a LockedOn LSU podcast and his radio show talking about this, my understanding is that his radio station is owned by another LSU money guy, and those money guys talk. So there was every reason to understand and go, okay, clearly there's something from the Baton Rouge side, which is the important part here. So to wrap all this up, people who were like still miffed at that podcast as if we were like, peddling in like rumor bait and stuff like that. No, listeners wanted to know what was going on, and we presented it the best way we could. Here's what's happening at LSU. And what's conveniently left out of the criticism of that podcast is how we explain that not everybody at LSU is a big fan of Will Wade. Number one. Number two, as you mentioned earlier, the NC State side of all of this. So to wrap all this up with the Will Wade thing, it's fairly obvious he was not expecting the question, but he clearly wanted it. So he had this thing ready to go. Will Wade, I'll give him a lot of credit. He has these things thought out. He's prepared for these types of questions and how to handle it. It's not catching him off guard. And again, he did the best he could do to shut it down. Will it? I don't know. Because again, the LSU folks are hot and heavy on this stuff.
Important in all of this in terms of shut it down. Not a single national person is suggesting that this is what's going to happen.
No. If anything, if anything, let me put it this way. There's a reason why I asked Brendan. We know what Will Wade wants to do. We know what fans want to do. What does Boo Corrigan? What does the administration think? How do they want to go about this? And that's the thing. What I said. Everybody's got to be singing from the same page. Okay, so I want to see how this offseason goes to see if they get an uptick in NIL to keep up. The cost of living goes up, right? Your property taxes go up. Just look at my mortgage. Those escrow payments ain't coming down. So I want to live where I live. Well, I got to pay those property taxes. Same thing goes with the tough neighborhood. You want to compete in the tough neighborhood? Well, guess what? The cost of the brick literally goes up. So how's NC State going to compete with that and stay financially committed to doing it while also learning lessons about roster construction, which I think is obviously something that I think they can handle.
Important to note.
Yes.
This conversation might come up again next year, and it might be a different conversation next year.
Oh, well, see now.
Important to note.
Yes. This year, whatever. To your point, next year, yes.
And
I can see where it takes.
Watch next year, okay? If you see national guys start pushing it or advancing the narrative, that's when you know there's something to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that.
But it was important for him to say that today
Mhm.
because, Joe, you got to get to work. You got to get to work. If you don't think people haven't already contacted Matt Abel about next season, you're crazy.
Yeah.
If you don't think people haven't already contacted Paul McNeil about next year, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm with you on that.
Like that's just crazy stuff. And by the way, you want to talk a little bit more about State or no?
I mean,
I'm getting
do
more flashbacks about these bigs that are just.
We'll do that in Hey Joe because we got some reactions to today's game and whatnot.
Okay.
So. Big thanks to our guy Matt Davis. He's in the building, right?
Yes.
We're gonna see Matt.
I hope so.
Okay. Well,
He'll
hopefully
definitely be here for the Duke game.
Oh yes. Well, of course he will.
Yeah.
Of course he will. Of course.
But
He will.
he loves. This is the day he loves to come down, see all the games. He's a true fan.
Today is the day, man. I love days like today. So Matt Davis at State Farm, hit him up, 919-779-8277, insuregarner.com. He's going to save you money on home and auto, okay? Your situations change. Like I said, property taxes, all that kind of fun stuff. You're going to have to find ways to save money. He can make that happen with State Farm out in Garner, insuregarner.com. But he can also help you save money for the future with financial planning. So if you've got some big ideas, you don't know where to start with actual proper retirement savings, Matt can help you out with that. So hit him up today at insuregarner.com, 919-779-8277. Speaking of expertise and people who can handle things for you, Chris Brassfield Accounting. Visit him online at brassfieldaccounting.com. The clock's ticking on tax day. I mean, you got to extend it. Sure, cool, whatever. But as the clock ticks and you're a little overwhelmed, maybe your situations have changed, like mine. I went from just the most basic tax prep like you could actually do, because it was just a couple of W-2s and some other things, to, oh, wait a minute, now we're a small business owner and a 2-person LLC? Ooh, I don't even know what any of this means. Well, Brassfield does. So hit them up, brassfieldaccounting.com. Also, if you deal with government grants and you get overwhelmed with the paperwork, this is where the fractional CFO steps in. So hit up brassfieldaccounting.com. And as we are an expertise corporate champion corner here, our guys at Whitaker and Hammer, WH.lawyer. We're getting the artwork ready for OG Line.
Yes.
Very excited. Mikey P is very excited to work on this.
Yes.
He's actually putting a hold on all other projects. So he has been waiting for this moment for the OG Lime can art.
A moment like
he's ready to go. So
some people wait a lifetime.
So the OG birthday bash will be at Shady's on May 2nd. I believe we'll have OG Lime for that. And then, of course, OG Lime will be in the stores. In the meantime, hit up our friends at WH.lawyer. Again, that's WH.lawyer. Hopefully, I will not get a speeding ticket on my way back home on Sunday. Hopefully, Giulio will not get any sort of traffic violations while he's bumping around Charlotte. But if that happens, they know people. Those are things that they handle as well. But hit them up, WH.lawyer. Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline is our beef and bottle buddy, our thirsty beaver companion. It is Julian Council, LockedOn Panthers podcast. With the music intro, if you watch on YouTube, you see the Slim Reaper, the Bryce Young Carolina Reaper action, and I feel like Dan Morgan can enter into this conversation as the Reaper of free agency as well. Or you want to put like the laser eyes on Dan Morgan for this NFL free agency that they have absolutely stolen the spotlight from just about every. I know Max Crosby news is like the big national thing, but once you get beyond that stuff, it's like, wait, the Panthers did what now with the edge rusher and inside linebacker? They did what now, Julian?
Oh, they went out there and they got the top edge rusher on the market. If you look at just the scheme that they run, Trey Hendrickson may be the top edge rusher that was a free agent, but he's not a fit for what Ejiro Evero does with the odd man front. Jalen Phillips absolutely is, because he's played for the guy who taught Ejiro Evero this defense, that being Vic Fangio in Miami and in Philadelphia to make that splash signing. And I get it, 4 years, $120 million. That's an overpay. Newsflash, every single one of these guys that gets free agency is overpaid, guys. Like, no one's getting market deals when it comes to, especially Monday, when the legal negotiating period opens up. If you want somebody, you're going to have to go out there and do it. And they made a big signing there, got Devin Lloyd to come in and play inside linebacker. If you look at the last 2 off seasons, you knew what they needed last year, which was they need to go out there and get a safety and needed to fix the defensive line. Getting Derek Brown back obviously was going to be a big part of that, but they needed more. And they went out and spent a lot of money on Turk Wharton and Bobby Brown III, and they also went out there and brought in Trevon Merrick. Now you look at this year, they needed inside linebacker, they needed an edge, and they got the top 2 guys arguably at both of those positions. So they have no problem filling those needs in free agency. It's just will be interesting to see how it plays out on the field and also just developmentally what they do moving forward, because they're not going to be able to just spend the money every offseason to try to acquire a plug-and-play starter.
Although, okay, about the money, I have 2 thoughts on the money thing. About did they overpay? I do feel when we start getting into the you overpaid ... Some of that is cope from other fans. I think that's, if you wanted this guy, you're probably annoyed that the Carolina Panthers went and got Phillips. So you then go to the immediate reaction. We see this all the time with the Carolina Hurricanes when there's a deal or there's free agents who's like, they completely overpaid for this guy. And it's like, well, first and foremost, to your point, all these guys are overpaid if you really think about it. Once you hit free agency, the market's just going to keep going up. Somebody's going to have to pay it, number one. Number two, you can restructure deals like we saw later in the week. It's like why everybody gets so wrapped up in the amount of money that's being spent and what it means to the cap space, as though there aren't tricks that Dan Morgan can pull to make that number look a little bit better. Restructuring deals, letting guys go. I mean, there's any number of levers you can pull in this particular case. And the thing that I am focused on that I don't feel is being discussed enough is age. That deal will probably look better throughout the course of the cap going up, and he's at the peak of his powers. He's what, 26? He's going to be 26, as opposed to some of the cheaper options that are at 28, 29. I'm not making it sound like a 29-year-old is about to be out of the league, but you're catching this guy at the right time. And, knock on, plastic tables here. He's put those injury woes around, that started behind him, and that you're actually getting this guy at his peak.
Yeah, he doesn't get this deal had he not bounced back last year and played as well as he did. You just look at the pressure numbers. He was top 10 in the league. You look at just at his position, he was top 5. So you're getting a guy who's an ascending player and really has been. It's just the ruptured Achilles tendon, then the ACL tear, back-to-back seasons that slowed down his progress. But he's shown that he can still be that same player. And as you mentioned, he's 26. And that goes with all the deals they've been signing recently. Merrick, it was his second contract. He was a young guy. Turk Wharton, second contract. Bobby Brown III, second contract. Devin Lloyd, second contract. They're not out here spending a ton of money on guys who are 30-plus years old. And like Bradley Chubb would have been somebody who maybe made sense for Carolina, but he's up there. He's been around for a while, and Buffalo is going to go sign him. Carolina's like that. We're going to go get a younger player. So I do like the philosophy of if they're going to get somebody, it's going to be someone on their second contract in their mid-20s who is an ascending player, and you're really paying them for what you think they're going to do, not necessarily what they've done. And people got to wrap their minds around that. But also, I don't really think anyone should be concerned that much about the salary cap because it's not like we understand it more than like a salary cap 101 level.
All I know is that, like birds, the salary cap really isn't real. So that's why I don't get too wrapped up in these things. And again, if you're going to be focused on the Phillips, well, then you also have to be focused on the Devin Lloyd contract, which in some circles you could look at and say, hey, man, that's kind of a steal in what they were able to pull in with that contract. And it's funny, I was texting with our friend Darren Gant from Panthers.com. And he just, I know Darren had this banger line ready to go at a moment's notice. It's like, what, did you think Dan Morgan was going to allow that specific area of the ball to lag? Like, let's look at the track record of linebackers in Panthers history. I mean, it's not the greatest of all time, but they've had some dudes come through. He is one of those dudes. And, or as Dan Morgan likes to say, dogs, okay? So, of course, he's going to absolutely identify and get those guys come hell or high water. So I respect for Dan Morgan calling a shot at the combine, what they said they needed. He went out and he did it.
Yeah, Sam Mills, who's a Hall of Famer, to
Yep.
Michael Barrow, to
Yep.
Dan Morgan himself, who had 20 tackles in that Super Bowl back in Houston, to John Beeson, to Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis, to Shaq Thompson, who was a good player until he was banged up the last 2 years, to now Devin Lloyd. Yeah, I mean, there's been a standard that's been set. You have 2 Hall of Famers, another guy in TD who's going to be in the Hall of Honor here in Carolina, maybe even John Beeson one day. I don't know, but
Who knows?
you've had some pretty good players at that position, and that was a glaring weakness for this defense the last couple of years, mainly because of injury. They wanted Josie Jewell, who was a veteran, had played in this defense under Jerry Rivera in Denver for that one season. They wanted him to pair up with Shaq Thompson. Now, Shaq ruptured his Achilles tendon 4 weeks into the season. Josie dealt with concussions, dealt with thigh issues. He barely got to play that 1 year he spent in Carolina. Then last year, Josie decides, actually, no, he's not going to be able to play. They cut him, and you're left with Christian Roseboom and Trevin Wallace. Like, that was not the plan going into last season. Even with Josie Jewell part of it, you had to wonder just how good the linebacker room was going to be. Like, getting Devin Lloyd for 3 years, $45 million, which really is just 2 years, $25 million, because that's the guaranteed money.
Yeah.
That's not crazy at all. And according to reports, his camp was looking for $20 million per year. So the Panthers got a market deal when it came to Devin Lloyd and not having to overpay there. So that's huge for Dan Morgan to go out there. And you bring up the combine. I was talking to Alex Zetlow of the Charlotte Observer. After Dan got off of the podium stage, he went back, did a scrum with more of the local media, and someone had asked about linebacker, and he's like, hold on, y'all want me to draft a linebacker, don't you? He's like, that's not how it works. And maybe he still will draft one, but he went out there and got one in free agency instead so far.
Yeah. Now, the other free agency move that is in the last, 24 hours or so, is a wide receiver, John Mechie, who was with Bryce Young at Alabama. I see this, and my immediate thought is, hey, Xavier, it's time to step it up. I mean, is that what this move indicates? I don't think it's like a Jalen Coker thing. This is more of like just kind of adding some pieces there because Xavier Legette has not been reliable.
Yeah, and they have a young room. Think about the playoff game. The 5 active receivers that day were Tenero McMillan, who's a rookie, Jalen Coker in his second year, Xavier Legette in his second year, Bryson Tremaine, who was in his second year, and Jimmy Horn Jr., who was a rookie. Like that, that's a lot of youth. And of those guys, there's only 2 that have been reliable. And of those 2, only T-Mac has really been healthy for a full season. Coker's dealt with the quad injuries the last 2 years, so they needed to provide some sort of cover. Now, Mechie so far early in his career hasn't been what people thought he was going to be coming out of Alabama. Now, there are reasons. He missed his entire rookie season because he had leukemia. So the fact he's even playing football in the first place is just awesome. And I'm happy for him as a human being, first and foremost. But obviously, we talk about football. We got to look at it from a football lens as well.
Yeah.
He's coming in to likely, as you mentioned, push Xavier Legette. And from my perspective, Legette is just not going to be what they want him to be. From their perspective, while they didn't give up a ton to move up from 33 to 32, they have invested a first-round pick in him, and it makes sense to at least let it play out for a third season. Then if he's not able to make any sort of progress, then you move on, but you can't just bank on him being ready to go. You also can't just bank on Coker being there all season long. You need to bring somebody else in who at least has familiarity with your quarterback in Bryce Young. As Bryce Heisman Trophy season, he was thrown to John Mechie, who had over 1,000 yards receiving, 990 receptions. So you have a guy he's going to be comfortable with, and someone who had a second round. He was taking the second round. So certainly he has the talent. Maybe this is going to be the right fit for Carolina. We'll see if it helps XL move forward as well.
So it's interesting. The Carolina Panthers, and this is where I need to tap into your locked on metrics, not to give too much away, obviously, right?
Sure.
But what I'm getting at is driving in to Charlotte, I'm listening to WFNZ. I'm listening to your podcast, catching up on some free agency stuff on my drive too. And I can't help but think that some of these moves or the way that they've been aggressive, especially on defense, was just a straight up indication of not continuing the good feelings and the good vibes of finally making it to the playoffs, but truly believing if we're going to make a turnaround, if we're going to actually make this thing work, it's not 2 years from now. It's going to be next year, because you also have that pressure on Bryce Young to show, can you step up? Can you be that guy before we start talking long-term deals? I don't know. Did the did the playoff appearance accelerate the thought process in the front office, or was this always part of what Dan Morgan wanted to do as they were getting out of the compounding mistakes of the previous regimes?
Yeah, I mean, I was in the locker room that morning after for clean out, and the prevailing thought from all of those guys was, this is the standard now. We are a playoff team.
Okay.
And we heard from Dave Canales later that day, but really Dan Morgan reiterated it on that Tuesday, saying, like, this is the standard. Like, we are now trying to be competitive every single year. And he had even said going to last year, the expectation is to complete for the playoffs every season. Did they really, in their heart of hearts, believe that last season that was going to happen? I don't know. Only they really know the truth there. I don't think that the appearance necessarily is what led to these moves. You have to look at, and you mentioned it, the guys that they've drafted defensively the last couple of years, back when Fitterer was here and Rule were here, how many of them are around? It's like Derek Brown and J.C. Horn. They whiffed on a ton of guys, so you have no choice but to spend a ton of money on guys like Jalen Phillips and like Devin Lloyd. And it also probably tells you, how much do they trust this defensive coaching staff to develop these young players? Because right now, I'm trying to think, like, who Trevin Wallace hasn't really looked great so far these first two seasons, and he was thrown into the fire in 2024. But last year, he was fine, looked better when he was wearing a green dot. But you haven't seen a ton there to make you feel that great. Shaw Smith-Wade was going to be the starting nickel, but then when they benched him for Corey Thornton late into the season, then he got the job back. I just don't think there's a lot of young defensive guys to point to and say, oh, look at their development. Like Nick Scorton, I think it was going to be a dude no matter what. We didn't see a lot from Princely. So maybe that's what it's also signaling. It's not just cleaning up the errors of the past, but it's also maybe pointing to how much faith they have in the current defensive coaching staff to be able to develop and get the most out of some of these young guys they're bringing in.
All right, one more Panthers thing before we bring Gilio back in after his break here. Because you're wearing Roback. We have Roback thoughts here that we're going to bring in a second. So actually, Jill, you back? You ready? All right, let me bring you back in here. Actually, we could just talk about Roback right now because we went to the Beef and Bottle last night.
We did.
Yeah.
And for those who are not from the Charlotte area, I guess, Julian, you could probably better explain Beef and Bottle. I was expecting more of a Beefmaster type place. This was more Peddler Steakhouse without the salad bar. This is like old Charlotte stuff, man. You know you're in a good spot when it's nothing but old people and then young dudes who are dressed up that like going out for the night.
Yeah, this is your old school. Hell, it's your OG steakhouse in the city.
Right.
And you go to any city in America that's been, this had to be around for a long time, but they're going to have.
1958 was the sign that it said, like 1958 or something like that?
Yeah. Every city has like their version of Beef and Bottle. Like I was up in Dayton randomly last year.
I was too.
Where you're going.
You're talking about the Oak, right?
I'm talking about the Pine Club.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. The Pine Club.
Yeah, the Pine.
Club,
So
yes.
So one of my good buddies from college, he's from Dayton, and I was like, oh, I would love to go to Dayton, go to a UD game, and it was a really cool experience. But then his parents the night before took us out to the Pine Club. I was like, oh, this is awesome! Like it's cash only. You got like that dark room, kind of like those red lights at the top that are strung throughout the whole facility. It used to be extremely smoky.
Yes.
And like cheap beer. Good liquor.
Yeah, man.
So back in May, he was here for the PGA, and I was like, hey, I gotta return the favor and take you to Beef and Bottle. He's like, yeah, this is it, man. When you have the spreadable cheese on the saltines and all that, like
they were talking.
I like that
about Angus Barn too. I thought that was kind of funny. Like, oh no, this cheese.
It's competition.
It was a little competition between Angus Barn and Beef and Bottle, which I thought was amusing. But as we're sitting there, I'm just seeing Roback on Roback on Roback. I got my Roback on. I'm double up on the Roback. I got the shirt. I got the jacket. You got the Roback hoodie on. Joe, I'm
just repping the Waffle House.
You're wearing, well, yeah, you got the Waffle House today. But regardless, and I'd like to think, because we look at the metrics.
Well,
and Charlotte's a big Roback mover, right?
It is. We were lauded by our Roback overlords because Raleigh they made a dent. They gave us a goal, though, for 2026, which was to catch Charlotte.
But here's the issue, and you know this, Julian. We're a statewide podcast. We're not just...
We're international, actually.
Very good point. Very good point.
Checking the metrics.
Canada. That's all you just got to look.
Copenhagen's top podcast.
Charlotte is our number 2 market on the podcast. So it's like,
so we should get
some credit for Charlotte Roback merch. Man.
I took all of the credit for like the 5 I saw there last night.
Easily.
Yeah.
Although there was that one dude that knew Julian who's like, yo, man, love the podcast.
Yeah.
Look at little celeb nice. Julian last night at the Beef and Bottle, man.
It happens sometimes, actually.
My
fiance, she's always like, "Oh my god, I feel like such a wag when that happens." Like, it's not that big. It's not that big of a deal. I think the weirdest place that ever happened. It's not really weird. I was at like a Carolina baseball game, and some students like, "Hey, I like your pod." I was like, "Appreciate you, brother." I'm always happy when people come up and say what's up. And I was at Keenan a couple times, and this one guy who listens to the OG, he stopped me, but like 2 times this past fall, being like, "Yeah, dude, love the OG, love you." So I was like, "Hell yeah, man!"
Hey, we got our Carolina people. As I was meeting up with Kate and young Noah at a pub last night. As I was going back to my car, a guy pulls up. He's like, "Ovius," and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "Man, I live in Charlotte. I'm a Carolina guy. I listen to your podcast all the time. Appreciate that." So look, man, we got Charlotte people and we got Carolina people, obviously.
One and the same.
You know where
you guys are an NC State podcast, though. So
I know you enjoyed using that line a couple times last night. Giving each other shit. Now, here's the thing, though. You know where I did not see Roback outside of us wearing it? Thirsty Beaver. I did not see a lot of Roback at Thirsty Beaver.
That's not a Roback place.
Yeah, not exactly.
Go up the street to any of the other breweries, though. You'll see some Roback. I don't think you're gonna see Roback there.
That was your first Thirsty Beaver experience?
It was.
Is that not Scream, my kind of bar?
Oh yeah, it reminded me of the place I went for my 40th, where you were the DJ.
Oh, when we went
the
to
old
Office Tavern. Yes,
yeah.
R.I.P. Office Tavern. Man.
Cold beer, just no nonsense, just
cheap.
Yeah,
cheap too, man. That's the other thing as well. All right, last thing, Julian.
Yes,
the draft. Obviously, Dan Morgan was like, "Oh, you want me to draft a linebacker?" Well, didn't do that. We took care of that. So where do their needs shift based on the free agency moves as they pick 19th? Do they move back? Which is the thing that, I know a lot of people will start promoting because they have to make up for a lot of those things that we had talked about from the previous regimes.
Yeah, look, people ask about the draft. Like, I always feel like way too early because people were asking, like, what should they do prior to free agency? It's like, well, can we get through free agency first and then I can answer that question? Because I would have said linebacker. Obviously, they got their linebacker. Now, I do think they should still address it. Okay. I don't think Trevor Wallace should just walk back in there and be the starting linebacker this upcoming season. They need more talent and more competition in that room. I would have also said edge. They went out and got Jalen Phillips, and they already invested in edge last year by getting on night 2 Princey Mamiellen and Nick Scorton. So I still think they probably should look at getting another edge, but right now they're kind of good there. Got Travis Gibson coming back as well, who had to fill in for Pat Jones, who was injured last year. Pat Jones is coming back for another season. Thomas Ingram, so they kind of have some decent depth there. I'm looking at tackle at this point in time, and I've really been starting to lean over in that direction for a little bit since talking to your old buddy Adam Gold on the radio a couple weeks ago, because he had said it. I was like, I didn't really thought about it, but then you think about, okay, Icky, ruptured patellar tendon, not sure when he's going to come back this upcoming season, if at all. I would think he's going to be back. He's in the last year of his rookie deal with the 5th-year option, and I don't think they're going to sign him to any sort of extension now this offseason. So the future there is a little murky. But Taylor Moton, last 2 years, he's not been the Iron Man he's been in the past. He's been banged up a little bit. And you look at the way that they restructured now the deal for Derek Brown, like that, there's like 7 guys going to have $20+ million cap hits next season for Carolina. And they're going to have to make some decisions, I think, when it comes to those guys' deals. And Moton could be one of them. It's going to be year 10 for him in the league and here in Carolina. How much longer does he want to do it? And when he signed that deal, he talked about how it allowed him to finish his career in Carolina. So we'll see what happens there. But I do think that with Stone Forsythe getting signed, that's not a guy that you're thinking and banking on being your starting left tackle until Icky comes back. At least that, I don't believe, is their plan at this moment in time. Yosh Nijman retiring is not ideal because I do think that's somebody they would have brought back. Getting a tackle at 19 would make some sense because that guy could end up being your starting left tackle to start off the season, or at least add some cover there. And then down the road, maybe in 2027, ends up being your starter either at left tackle for full time or replacing Taylor Moton at right tackle. So I think just tackle in general is kind of what I'm leaning on right now when looking at least at 19. And I don't know about moving back right now.
At the risk of generalizing and stereotyping, Stone Forsythe absolutely owns a Roback.
Based on the name alone?
Just based on the name.
Stone.
I mean,
Where is Stone from?
Is that a soap opera?
Should we send
what?
him one?
Is that a real person? PGA
Winter
Tour?
Garden, Florida. So yeah, he probably is a real.
Oh yeah, that's got wrote back. Anyway, use our promo code OG20 Stone if you're listening, or
We can
anybody
always send
listening.
you one.
Yeah, I don't think he needs a promo code.
Probably. Hey. One thing
We
I
can
learned-
all use it. Use it. Yes,
Yeah,
for y'all,
for y'all's sake. If there's one thing I've learned about people who have a lot of money, they tend to be, clipping coupons and things like that. Man.
They like it when other people buy them.
Of course, that's how they keep their money. If you think about it, that's why taxpayers end up paying for stadiums. Oh wait, I said that out loud. My bad. Julian Council, LockedOn Panthers podcast. Check it out
Twice a day.
Oh, he's in peak mode
Holy
right
fuck,
now, man.
30 minutes and 10 minutes. Come tune in for both shows.
Well, and it's also funny too because you're doing it live. Doesn't going live make you feel a certain kind of way?
Yeah, it makes me feel good to go live. When I don't go live, I'm in this tiny room and I'm messing up like 8 times, yelling out "fuck."
Thank you for pointing this out. Because Julio cracks up when I if you all right, it's go time.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just all right. Cameras on, mics are on. We're streaming. Like it doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't faze me. You need me to read a script. You need me to set something up that I know is being recorded. I will do it 8 different times.
Yeah.
8 different times.
It's human nature.
Like those quick hits that I've been doing since we've been kind of wonky on the podcast schedule. Do you know how many takes it took?
Oh.
Do you know how many takes it took to do the Canes?
I can imagine.
To do the Canes deadline one?
I breathed there. I could hear my breath.
Yeah. I didn't say deadline right. All right. Now I got to move on. All right. Julian, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. See you guys.
Put ourselves back into the thing here. Much like it would be helpful if you put Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority back into your rotation. With Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority, you can bundle and save, but with the ups and downs and the weathers and the fake springs and the false promises of warmer weather, and then it rains and it's cold again, all that kind of stuff. Look, it's going to be here before you know it. It's going to get warm. The mosquitoes are going to be back out. And the best part about Mosquito Authority, no contracts. So hit them up today at bugsbite.com. Again, that's bugsbite.com. And look, it's all about enjoying your backyard. And they can do misting systems and some other things to keep the mosquitoes in control. And you're thinking about, man, I would really enjoy a nice backyard, but right now my house is saying getting it done. That's why you contact our friends at Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. We have been saying, and I've been saying a lot, that the housing market's kind of weird right now. Like I said, there was a house in my neighborhood that's been sitting there for probably the better part of a year. I think it finally sold, but why did it take so long? If you're looking to buy a house, is there a way to save some money because of these houses just sitting on the market for as long as they've been on the market? Well, a simple question to Hometown Realty. So check them out, myhtr.com. And you buy the house, it can tell you what that house needs across the backyard. It needs blinds. I can see directly into the master bedroom while I'm chilling with neighbor Rick. Me and neighbor Rick could be just chilling, enjoying some bourbon on a nice Friday evening. And all you got to do is look up. And they're like, oh, wow, you can see right in there. You should contact our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. Hit them up, 919-980-9815. BloominBlinds.com is the website. We will be back tonight following the Duke and Carolina games. True after dark, a true midnight extravaganza. Thanks to our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. I will be having the mushroom coffee. So if you just bought a house.
Are we going home?
What?
I don't have the mushroom coffee with us.
Oh, I thought you brought it with you. All right, well, I'm going to need it tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll definitely need it tomorrow to perk up for my hour hang with Walker Mail over at WFNZ.
Oh, nice.
I'll be back in my radio bag tomorrow.
Let's go.
I'm very excited about that.
What time?
I think from 1:20 to 2:20.
Nice.
I'll be
going
hanging
to
out
the studio?
with Walker. Yeah, I'm going to the studio.
Look at you.
The question is, do I bring my own headphones? Because you know how radio station headphones are.
Man.
Like 1 year's out. They're frayed. Haven't been cleaned in a decade. Probably get an ear infection. I don't need that. I'll bring my own headphones like a true professional. Anyway, I've been in the WFNZ studios, man. Makes our studio look palatial. Just saying. Anyway, 919-980-9815 for our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. And yes, we will be back tonight for more OG After Dark. Burns. What's wrong with you, man? Sometimes I question John. $154 for a Q-Zip. Yeah, they're fantastic. And that's why you use promo code OG20. Burns. Jeez, man. And yes, they do have Davidson stuff. So you don't have to sell your kid if you use promo code OG20, for heaven's sake. All right, let's go to the OG Sports phone.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
This text amused me. I thought it would amuse you too. I think it's from a 704. Gilio, hold firm. You are not being an a-hole. Oviedo, I think that that's got to be an autocorrect on the text because Oviedo is a town in Florida. Anyway, Ovius is delusional. He has had a crazy bromance with Shire since kickoff, and it's gotten worse as the season has gone on. And the AV card is true. Starting in 4th grade in the 1960s, back when the Friday of the tournament was the best day of the year. Love the show, but Ovias and his Duke obsession is starting to make me throw up in my mouth. I'm not a fan of cursing, so that's about as close I'll get to it. That's fine. So hold firm, Joe. Hold firm. Hold firm on such things. Much like hold firm with our appreciation of Josh Pastner.
Yes. I miss Josh.
I miss dudes like this in the ACC, man. So what? UNLV finally won a freaking game in their tournament?
You just let him explain.
Okay.
He does a good job.
That this is a tournament of horrors for UNLV. Is that?
I'm sorry. He said what now? A tournament of what?
Many fans text me that this is a tournament of horrors for UNLV.
That's an interesting way of describing it.
It's legal in Nevada.
You think there's a radio station that does that? Back in the day, WFNZ used to do something called the Tournament of Charlotte Babes. You think out in Las Vegas, that's what they're doing?
It's the house of horrors. That meaning that the last 10, and I said horrors, HORRORS, by the way, okay? But here's the thing. They said the last decade, UNLV's been 0 for 10 in all games in the Mountain West Conference tournament except Air Force, not named Air Force. And they haven't been in the semis for over 13 years. So they said, they haven't won a game in over a decade against somebody not named Air Force. I wanted to beat San Diego State so bad, but I always believe this in life. Things are deeper than they look on the surface. Because of our loss, it gave us a chance to play Wyoming. If we had won, we would have played Air Force. So now we broke the streak.
This man is breaking a sweat in the middle of this promo shoot, man.
In life are deeper than they look on the surface. And because of that, we got to play Wyoming, and the house of horrors, HORRORS, is broken. We broke the streak. God bless the Mountain West Conference. God bless the Rebels, and God bless the United States of America, land of the free because of the brave.
What the hell was that?
I saw that this morning. I'm like, oh yeah, need that. Inject it.
By the way, all he did was remix his Georgia Tech. They never. We won't win a game in the ACC, but we did it. It's the little things, but I respect that. Work smarter, not harder. From Ben, your guy giving off real OG energy. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. All right, let's go to 252.
Hey, this is Gabe calling from Carborough. I just listened to y'all's podcast after NC State beat Pitt, and I understand Joe is really tired of Will Wade's Shakespeare in the Park act. I think most of us are. It's kind of bit us in the butt a lot, but he said he was also tired of Quadir being fake tough. Said he's fake tough. I don't get that. I feel like he's real deal tough. I feel like he has the biggest balls of the team. He's the best leader on the team. And I fucking love the way he plays with a chip on his shoulder. I was just wondering if you could elaborate a little more on that. The fake stuff idea. Thanks, guys.
Well, I think you did that earlier.
Yeah.
Without
just
prompting.
standing there before the games. And, you know, if you're going to do that and glower like that, like Kobe Bryant, you put 81 on somebody. You don't like just go out there and have your normal dog and pony show. I would also just love for him to play just a little bit of defense. That would be.
Well, you could say that about
today was much better.
Most of the team.
It was a much better showing today all around from what we saw.
Yeah.
And again, they lost, but both things can be true.
No, I'm with you on that. They did play better. Let's go to a 910.
Well, Joe and Joe, NC State did show effort just for 10 minutes of the first half. You know, I heard a lot of this team will go as Darion Williams goes earlier in the year. And that seems to be true. If Darion leaves his hands down for a San Luis 3, they hit it. Virginia goes up. If he doesn't get back on a breakaway dunk, Virginia goes on the run. So my question is, can we take the money we invest in Darion Williams back? Is that something we can do later on in these contract clauses? We'll fix on an NIL by doing that, getting a better return on investment. I know it's not even possible, but man, it really is Darion Williams that is dragging this team down.
Rice kind of stood on the table.
So I don't know if your headphones were working for that, but essentially it was Darion Williams has been dragging this team down. And is there a way to get money back? Is there some sort of clause in the contract where you can get some of that money back? Obviously, he knows
from Mike James from last year. If you could get money back, you can't get money back in this era.
Well, you said you had some additional thoughts with today's game before we went to Julian. I guess in some of the reaction to today's game.
No, it was more of on the coaching front.
Oh, I got you.
That I've been miffed by the way that he's handled the substitution pattern most of the year.
Okay.
And that's not fair. Since non-conference play ended, I think there was probably a better way to handle the minutes.
Okay.
And part of that frustration in watching it today was he gets mad at a player. Let's take Arsenault, for example. Did you see him light Arsenault up?
Yep.
Well, take him out of the game. Like, that's coaching, like, by the paint by numbers. If the player makes a mistake, don't nearly get into a fist fight with him in the huddle. Bench him. Tell him why once he sits down, once you've gathered your thoughts, tell him why you benched him and try to get a better expectation out of him.
Yeah.
There was another play earlier in the game where Moussa Sagna turned the ball over. It wasn't like the guy did it on purpose, but it was a mistake. And instead of hustling down to the under end of the floor, Sagna loafs.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's on you. Your players doing these things and making mistakes in March, that's on you.
Yeah, at this point, you are who you are. These are habits that have been allowed.
But you're allowing them to make mistakes with impunity.
Yeah.
You have to bench them. You have to control their minutes. Trey Holloman this year was one of the big misses for this team.
Yes.
And that's where I get into, I get Matt Abel is a freshman, true freshman, young guy, could be a little bit stronger. I thought he played a really good first half. I thought he was making plays, setting up his teammates, hitting some shots, really defending, really hustling on defense as well. And I looked at it and I just thought to myself, that he couldn't figure out how to get Abel and McNeil together, it was one of his mistakes this year.
Yeah.
And that you can see it unfold in real time you look at the minutes from today's game. And I had to go back and look because I didn't quite believe it myself. Abel played 23 minutes. Holloman played 26. It probably should have been something closer to like 34 and 15. And that's kind of where I'm looking. I mean, Williams was in foul trouble today. You could see, I get it. Williams only had 7 points and it didn't necessarily do all that much, but in the first 10 minutes of this game, you could see how they actually wanted to use Darian Williams this year as a little bit of a point forward, as a mismatch problem. He is a good passer. Made a 3 in front of the Virginia bench where he was woofing at the Virginia bench, of course. But you could see it. The disconnect with Darian was now the foul trouble today. There was too many interspersed pockets with Darian. That's where I would get back to. Ryan Odom goes and gets a guy from San Francisco who you go, okay, I know what he did at San Francisco. You went and got a guy at Texas Tech and said, well, he was the third player at Texas Tech. Imagine if I give him all the shots he wants. Imagine if I give him all the leeway that he wants. And we had him rated as a better player than Cooper Flagg last year in the per minute usage.
Right.
So guess what's going to happen when we extrapolate? I don't love the extrapolation. Sometimes it works. A lot of times it doesn't.
Yeah.
A lot of times it doesn't.
You're always looking for that diamond in the rough, outsmart in the room.
But that wasn't the diamond in the rough because that was their highest paid player.
That was their highest paid.
You know what I mean? Like, I give Ryan Odom credit for some of these guys that I'm sitting over here looking at, and I'm going. The kid from the MAC had 12 points today, Lewis from Toledo. Again, Onyenso is a guy who begins his career at Kentucky, doesn't have gigantic numbers, but has a 9-foot wingspan and is affecting the game in a positive way.
I can do something with that.
And it'll be interesting to see what the one Ferner, Grunlow did nothing. And DeRitter, I thought, after a very quiet first half, was the difference in the game in the second half. So how do you approach Euros, Joe? Because if you're NC State and you went after Deron Rippey, who you probably thought, Andrew Slater, you probably thought, I've been on this kid since he was 12, right? Because you're the Oklahoma City. He worked for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have so many draft picks that he's had to literally scout like 18, 17, 16, 15, 14-year-olds.
Yeah, and then he learned the lesson. Then he learned the lesson that when it finally gets on Duke's radar,
so that you could tell their initial thought this year was, let's get Rippey. Let's get a real superstar. Williams isn't what we thought he was going to be, but let's get a real freshman superstar. Maybe we bring some of these guys back. We could figure it out on the big front, right? You miss on Rippey because Duke came in and said, oh, you know who we want? We don't recruit. We pick. Okay. So they learned that lesson. Now I wonder, is Will watching this game and pointing to DeRitter and saying to Boo Corrigan, saying to Andrew Slater, you see? That's a 23-year-old European player, came from a professional league. You could probably say Sandu got Musa Sanya, but never had the success that DeRitter did.
It was not the same. That's not
or
the same thing.
Adame Sarr over at Duke.
Now that's
right.
One that tonight,
who becomes an even more important player for Duke with Foster's absence. I really think Sarr is going to push them to the Final Four. I really, really do.
To look ahead to tonight, that's going to be that's what I'm watching tonight as as Sarr's development or his as he has started to get it and be a key contributor to what Duke is trying to do to get to a national championship. How does he step up in the absence?
Well, he's already started. And my Carolina fans, I apologize. My Duke fans, I finally did something that you're going to like. Start of the day, Carolina's plus 2,500 to win this tournament. I put $20 on it to win 500.
Too many things have to go right.
Well, the first thing that could go right is Florida State.
Like I said, as I said at the start of the show, it's one of those things where everybody's now convinced themselves it's going to happen. Therefore,
and that's not how those casinos get built when too many people have the same thought.
It's like I'm gonna outsmart the room here. Everybody's saying it now, so it's clearly not going to happen. All right, one more phone call before we wrap things up. Number 252.
What's up, guys? It's the Young Gravy, Grave Hill calling. Driving back in just miserable conditions, which kind of reflects how I feel about that game. I had a feeling it was going to be a tough game for the Wolfpack to win after I saw Julio's video on his Instagram story of him sitting in front of the UVA marching band as they were warming up behind him before the game. And then, what would you know it, I see Julio sitting behind UVA's bench, just poor placement on the ACC's part in terms of media row. All I can say is it's a little late here at March 12th to be executing late game situations on a 1-on-1 down by 4, and nobody kind of makes an effort to go for the rebound. Instead, they were all looking at each other and waiting for somebody else. They would have been better off somebody would have been better off just running into each other, and maybe I'm not going to wish injury upon anybody, but they would have been better off having two guys collide with each other rather than just stand there and wait for the ball to just then be called for a jump ball. On the flip side of that, you can't. Yeah, you can be mad, but at the end of the day, UVA shot over 55% from behind the arc. At that point, you just got to have to tip your cap to them. The moral of the story is, I don't know. Day and here comes the Wolfpack. We'll see. Maybe we'll get Santa Clara versus NC State in the play-in tournament. Herb versus Will Wade. That would do numbers for the content, guys.
Young gravy. That's how we'll close things out. Anyway, we'll be back at it tonight for a true OG After Dark. I'm gonna start getting beamed up.
I'm beamed up.
Go on if you don't look that up on the internet.
I won't.
It might take you some other places. Just say, now that I thought about it. We'll see you tonight for an OG After Dark.
Yeah, that's